I want you to picture something. Picture a woman with Post-it notes covering her face. Every single one labeled with something she's responsible for. Work, team, being a mom, managing her nutrition, going to the gym, leading a meeting, volunteering, being a friend, being a partner. You can probably relate to that woman. And she can't see in this visual. She can barely breathe. Somewhere underneath all of those Post-it notes, she's in there, but she's losing herself in the process. And I see this in the leaders I work with. I've seen this in myself. Not the Post-it notes literally, but the weight of them, the weight of all of it, the accumulation of responsibilities, roles, expectations, and commitments that have quietly stacked up until the plate isn't just full, it is overflowing. And what do these high-achieving leaders do? They're still trying to add to it. So here's the thing that I share with coaching participants, with leaders. You cannot add grounded leadership behavior to an already full plate. You just can't. Presence takes space. Intentionality takes space. The kind of leadership that actually moves people, that builds trust, that develops others, that responds instead of reacts, it can't be squeezed into the margins of a life that has no margins left. Something has to come off. And I know this personally. I've had seasons where I looked up and couldn't find myself underneath all of those Post-it notes, underneath everything I was carrying, where I was doing all the things and being none of the things that actually mattered most, where the version of me showing up for everyone else was running on empty because the real me had been buried under these Post-it notes for so long that she'd forgotten what it felt like to have a clear face. So we know something has to come off, but how do you know what comes off? That's a question I get a lot. How do I prioritize when all of it is important? So here's a practical way to think about it. Look at everything on your plate and ask 3 questions. First, is this mine to carry? Not everything that lands in your lap is yours to own. Maybe it's someone else's swim lane. Maybe some of it belongs to someone else on your team. Maybe some of it is a habit of over-responsibility that was never really yours to begin with. If it's not yours, put it down. Second question, is this high impact? Of everything you're carrying right now, what actually moves the needle? What creates value for your team, for your organization, your family, for you? Those are the things that stay. Everything else goes on the negotiating table. And third, is this aligned with who I am trying to be, who I want to be? Not just what I'm trying to do, but who I want to be as a leader, as a person. Some things are urgent, but not aligned with what you want to be, how you want to feel. And carrying those things that aren't aligned, I suspect that's costing you more than those things are worth. So the goal is not an empty plate. The goal is a plate that you choose. Post-it notes that you recognize as yours to carry and high impact for you. Here's the truth. When you lose yourself in the process, when your face is covered in Post-it notes, the people around you lose the best version of you too. And that is the version that they in the world needs the most. So here's our reflection for today. Look at your plate right now, all of it. What's on there that isn't yours to carry? What's high impact and what's just loud? What needs to come off so that you can naturally show up for what matters most? Something has to come off the plate and you get to decide what that is. What a great way to take care of yourself and ultimately each other.